Today, Bozana is showcasing the magnificent Abel Prudhomme. Abel was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. He has a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Biblical Studies from Louisiana Baptist University, a certificate in Library Technology from Pasadena City College, and is pursuing a second bachelor's degree in creative writing from California State University in Los Angeles. His written works are The Last of Canterbury Tales and A Modern Proposal are gaining popularity. However, he remains noted for The War, available on audiobook in a 3-volume set. I want all of you to sit back, relax, and enjoy Abel poetically express himself for your pleasure. I thank you.
You lived a life of great proportion, visited kings and crossed the ocean, but in the end cremate or bury, you're just a filed obituary. Or so you thought, but now you stand and hear the voice of God demand, flesh return and meet desire, and burn thee in the lake of fire. To burn a while, to burn forever. Eternal pain, eternal weather, where great and small shall join together in a never-ending scream. And you, who thought to call it fiction, when truth pronounced its benediction, horror, horror upon your path. This is your final epitaph. In burning embers, look and see 1,000 wasted vanities. Eternity, eternity, you should have trusted Christ. I had thought to give a brief performance of The Last of the Canterbury Tales, that I give it readings of the book, but I am overwhelmed here with a sequel, a play I just finished, to William Shakespeare's Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark. I therefore beg your indulgence as I present the opening portion of Hamlet Resurrected. We move past the cast of actors to the proto-prologue. Hamlet's tale, a popular one and very old, triangle of revenge and twin-like death, disrupted by a charlatan who sold ineffectual poison, merely masking breath. Prince Hamlet and noble Laertes buried alive, and thus the story here must further end. One evermore restrained, and one to rise, while Fortinbras her throne with ease ascends. Hamlet, the risen fugitive, must flee, with bounty placed upon his long-lost head. He who pondered once to be or not to be, back to Wittenberg is quickly sped. Thus the Renaissance and Reformation now are due, to finally meet when Prince Hamlet and Martin Luther interview. Prologue. Scene, Germany, Wittenberg's castle church within the chapel. Luther stands within a raised and enclosed medieval pulpit with the congregation listening below. Martin Luther, and so it is a great heart that loves the little things, that bends from height and beholds the humble face, that perceives the world in unison and sympathizes with the ant. It is a great heart that beholds the little things. It is a great heart that loves the little things, that holds the future and an infant with one hand, that sees the ruler as a broken child and a war through a mother's eyes. It is a great heart that understands the little things. It is a great heart that loves the little things, who in that love for little things has found that love for everything, who in that greatest love of all, from all that's great to all that's small, has found themselves the greatest loved of all. It is a great heart that loves the little things. And now, as you all know, the chief reason for this assembly is to hear from Horatio, he who in his many travels to oracle the events he shall now relay, has briefly returned to visit us here at Wittenberg. Horatio, please come honor us with your fame memorial of Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark. Friends and much-missed classmates, I both greet thee and thank thee for attendance upon a tale that I am sworn to give. Yea, my life is bound up within the declaration, and so I beseech thee, hearken unto this. Ere the royal soul of Hamlet could reach its kingly height, was it cast down to where it now remains, within the dust-filled earth, where now both he and noble Latres still lay. Act 1, Scene 1, inside the coffin of Latres. The scene opens with Latres lying on a wooden board that is lifted slightly from a flat position into an angled one, slanted just enough for the audience to see him. There is a faint rhythmic sound in the distance. Narrator, speaking from somewhere behind the curtain. Music in the distance, but it wasn't this. No, nor the stillness of everything else. Just that one thing, that thing so gradual, that inability to shift. It was obviously a carryover from the womb, a comfort enjoyed each night as he lay upon his bed, now withheld. He could not turn to the side. He could not cup his head in his hands. He could not bring his knees gently to his chest, and so he could not descend back into restful sleep and solid slumber. The rhythmic sound grows slightly louder and faster. Latres, a recorded voice portrayed as his thoughts. Were the players in the village? The revelry increased? Narrator, and what was that pressing against his knee, and that dream fading away as all dreams do, hard to remember, like something so very long ago? The rhythmic sound continues to gradually become louder. Latres, they love their rhythm, don't they? They must be shuffling, keeping time. The perimeter of a coffin begins to slowly rise up around him from the board that he has been lying upon. Narrator, yet he is more concerned with what he feels against his back, against his arms, against his side, and his eyes opening to touch the utter dark. The rhythmic sound is now loud and clearly mimicking the sound of a heartbeat. Latres, recorded voice ends. He is now speaking audibly. Those drums, damn the revelers, those drums. What is this? What? He is now fully surrounded by the perimeter of a coffin. Narrator, and then he remembers. Prince, poison, sword, something wrong. Latres, something, the dream, it was... The sound has now escalated into a very distinct, loud heartbeat. Narrator, the beating, now pounding from his chest, yet he can almost there, his hands next to his head, pressing up with all his strength, nothing, smashing with his elbows, pressing with his knees, but nothing yields. Latres commences and then continues to pound and scratch at the top of the coffin and simultaneously release a volley of screams. Narrator, he can no longer hear his own heart, silenced by the scratching and then the screams. His voice, his pain, his fingernails torn to shreds. Narrator ends. The light shut completely off in the auditorium for a prolonged period of 15 seconds with nothing occurring other than the loud sounds of Latres scratching and screaming to get out of his coffin. Then, with the scratching and screaming continuing, the lights begin to fade in and out at approximate intervals of 1 second on and 2 seconds off, thus signifying the passage of time. Then suddenly, the noises cease and the lights remain on. A long silence then prevails, interrupted only by Latres whimpers and sniffles quietly without stopping. Narrator, now he is transformed again, whimpering, the immobile, the undead. The sound of his beating heart returns, overwhelming all but this. The loud sound of a beating heart recommences. Latres, if this be you, then the Prince of Denmark, Hamlet, is also Latres. Buried alive! The top missing portion of the coffin is now lowered into place with a loud thudding sound. Narrator, and he wonders, will the noise ever end?